guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are sharing with you our list of top 10 destinations for early retirees in 2024.
All right, we're gonna base this on a few things, and the first one is based on the cost of living. This is gonna be a major factor. We're gonna talk about quality of life, safety, any visa travel concerns there might be with the country. And then keep in mind that we are American, have American passports, so that will factor into our rankings as well. And then this is also based on slow travel of 30 to 90 days per country, not going to live for 5 years. This is based on what it would be like to try something out, 30 to 90 days. So.
All right, so we've ranked them all. We do love all of these countries, so if they made the list, that means we like them. And we rank them in order of which we think, from the best ones to, whatever. So, all right, let's start with what we listed at number 10, and that is...
Croatia.
Yes.
So we've spent quite a bit of time in Croatia, and it comes in at number 10. It is kind of an up-and-coming country for retirees. A few reasons for that. It's not that hard to get to, although not super easy. It's kind of in the mid-range expense-wise. And there are a couple of nice cities you can go to, being Split and Dubrovnik. We chose to go to Dubrovnik and had a really good time there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city, country. It has tons and tons of history, if you've looked into that. But it is a great place to spend some time with some great cultural experiences there too. Yeah,
we did find that we were able to get our medications there quite cheaply. I think that's one thing that was really beneficial about it. There are a lot of tours there. We actually took a tour to Montenegro from there. We took a tour to Bosnia from there. And so there's lots to do. You're not going to get bored in Croatia. You actually got, we went on the Game of Thrones tour. We kind of did our own DIY one. Even though we've never seen the show, we went ahead and did it because we thought it would be interesting.
Yeah, it's also a cruise port, so
yeah.
There's also, cruisers coming in pretty much every day to the port as well, so there's a big flow of people constantly.
Yeah, so Croatia comes in at number 10, clocking in at number 9, kind of one that most people don't think would make the list, but it's going to be Canada for us. Canada is amazing, and it's so close, it's so easy, it's such an easy thing to do because it's right there. Same time zone, you don't have to switch with any of that. The visa situation is so easy. We get 180 days in Canada. Don't have to worry about it. The exchange rate is really good right now. I think when we were in Canada the last time, prices are kind of like America, but everything's a little bit cheaper. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything from groceries and activities.
Yeah, so there's some big places that we would like to continue to visit in Canada, and I think we're not talking really about going to Toronto or Vancouver here. Those are kind of like going to New York or LA. Those are going to be really expensive and would kind of knock this quite a bit further down the list. But if you're looking at Edmonton or Calgary or Ottawa, Winnipeg, stuff like that, you're going to get a pretty good value for your money there, and I think you're going to have a really good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, there's a lot to see in Canada. People always think, oh, isn't that like the same as the U.S.? It's not at all. It's completely different. It has different topography. The people are different. The views are different. Everything is very different, but it's so beautiful. And of course, being Canada, the people are so lovely.
Yes, very, very nice.
I did love that.
The people were very nice to us. And when we spent our time in Edmonton last winter, they just had so many amazing experiences that we couldn't get in the States. Like they built this big outdoor ice snow park right downtown in the city, and you can go over there and go sledding and do, instead of corn mazes there, they have snow mazes. So that was pretty cool. So tons of stuff to do there. Definitely recommended to go try out Canada as number 9. Number 8 on the list, one that's familiar, kind of an old faithful of retirees is going to be Mexico.
Yes, it's kind of that fail-safe, I think, for people is going to Mexico because you get those tropical temperatures and you have the beaches. I think that's why a lot of people don't consider, Canada, is because you get to, those glorious beaches in Mexico. There's lots of expat communities there in lots of different places. So I think a lot of people, it's like expat life light, because it's so close to the US. If you need to get back very quickly, you can do that very easily. It has a lot to offer. Of course, the food is amazing. The people of Mexico are fabulous. There's really nothing I could say bad.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would say for Mexico that kind of keeps it from being higher on the list is that in recent years, because so many people have found out about Mexico, the price has really gone up. The price is not what I would consider to be cheap anymore. In fact, I think it's one of the more expensive places on this list. And we just didn't find the value for our money to be there compared to some of the other countries that are going to be in more of the top spots. So,
right.
Especially including this next one, which is Italy. You would think Mexico is way cheaper than Italy, but it is actually the opposite. Italy is cheaper than Mexico.
Absolutely. It's actually very surprising. Not only is the food less expensive, housing is less expensive, even in the big cities. And once you get just a little bit outside of those big cities, you go even less on the housing. It's amazing. And the great thing is that for most of the places where you stay, you don't have to worry about having a car. The train system in Italy is so incredible, connecting all these little towns all along. It's just amazing. So it's really easy to move around from place to place. We've covered the entire country actually by train, all the way down into Sicily even on the train. You can check those out on our Grounded Life Travel channel, but we've covered the entire country, and there's just so much in Italy to offer for early retirees.
Yeah, and we found the people very welcoming to us. We stayed for a month in the smallish town of Monopoli, Italy. Everybody welcomed us like locals, and we kind of went out and did our shopping there, cooked our meals, went to the local restaurants, lived like a local there for a little over a month, and it was really just what we wanted, right?
It was such a great experience. I mean, even on the day when we were rolling our bags out of town, the local fruit and vegetable vendor that I bought food from nearly every day stopped to hug me and to say farewell to us as we were leaving town. So that just tells you how amazing Italy is.
Yeah. Next up on the list, number 6, is going to be Colombia. And some people, when they hear Colombia, they think of the 1980s. This is not the 1980s Colombia anymore. This is a new Colombia, and it is a great destination to go to.
It is. It is an incredible destination. And actually, one of the reasons why we had Colombia on our list before we even went the first time is we have a lot of beautiful Colombian friends back in our home city in Atlanta, Georgia. And, we just talked to them about it because it was someplace we had heard was great to visit. Talked to them, they encouraged us, and we said, let's do it. So we did, and we do not regret it one bit. We were in several places in Colombia, and we could not have loved it more.
Yeah, why don't you give them the cities we were at in
So
Colombia?
we were in Medellin, and we also spent quite a bit of time in Santa Marta, which is right on the water, on the Caribbean side, yes. And it was right there by the water, by the beach. Absolutely incredible experience. The people were so beautiful, so amazing, incredibly kind and helpful. And then on top of that, can we talk about Colombian food?
Oof,
if you
good.
have not had Colombian food, go find some close to where you are right now and get some to have your mind blown because it's so delicious.
And Colombian food is like Midwest food meets Hispanic food. It's like they love meat and potatoes, but then they put that Hispanic flair on it. So it's pretty good.
It's very good.
It's what I've been searching for my whole life. And it's really inexpensive. The food is really great. So one thing about Colombia you will find, as opposed to Mexico, There is a little bit less English spoken there than Mexico. You will find that. But you also will find that as an American in Colombia, you aren't really treated like a tourist either, like you would be in Mexico. So that's kind of a give, take both ways. I kind of think Colombia is a great up-and-coming destination, kind of like Mexico might have been 15, 20 years ago. Colombia still has that real charm and vibe of an undiscovered place.
It really does. And actually another place we visited in Colombia was Cartagena. And, even in a place that gets a lot of visitors like this particular city, they still very little English. Obviously not a problem for us because I'm fluent in Spanish. But, if you're going there, just bring your Google Translate. And like I said, the people are so nice. They will do everything they can to try to figure out what it is that you want or need or whatever through whatever means they need. They can.
All right, moving on to number 5 on the list. We're getting into the top 5 here. Number 5 is going to be Malaysia.
Malaysia. One of the cool things I think about Malaysia is that it's a melting pot of cultures. And so the funny part in Malaysia is that English is actually spoken quite a lot.
Widely.
Which we found very surprising. Did not know that going in when we went the very first time back in 2020. Had no idea going in. And then we found out, we met some locals and they kind of told us a little bit about the history of the country, and we learned so much. And it was just so incredible because they have such a mix of so many different cultures. Yes, they do, speak Malaysian, but they also, almost everyone speaks English. Everyone that we encountered, not once did I ever even have to get out my app. Because even in the grocery store, a lot of times in foreign countries, the grocery items will not be described in English. In Malaysia, everything was described in English. So a lot of times I'll just use my Google Lens to be able to translate things in the grocery store, because obviously I don't expect them to be translated into my language. I use Google Lens. I didn't have to use it once in Malaysia.
Yeah, the other great thing about Malaysia is that the quality of the housing is among the highest of any country on this list. So you're going to be able to go to Malaysia, and for $1,500 a month, you're going to be in a luxury high-rise apartment right in downtown Kuala Lumpur, which is an amazing city. The food scene there is great. You get just about anything you want. But yeah, I think that the housing there really takes this one over the top, because for us, when we're traveling and we're going to stay somewhere for 2 to 3 months, we like to be in a nice place. We like to have it feel like home, and the apartments in Malaysia definitely do feel like home.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to offer there. It's actually really interesting too in Kuala Lumpur specifically. There's a ton of global companies that are based there or have a headquarter of some sort there. So there's a lot of, like Rob said earlier, a lot of nationalities there, and a lot of English speakers coming in, and just so many cuisines from around the world that your mind is completely blown.
All right, moving on to number 4. That is going to be Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, you knew that was going to be on the list. Costa Rica is a beautiful country with beautiful people, so much to offer. If you're looking for a leisure life, mostly concentrated on beaches and gorgeous mountains, then highly encourage you to go someplace like Costa Rica. It's so beautiful, so lush. The people, again, beautiful and welcoming, and the food, you won't get a complaint out of me.
Yeah, I think that Costa Rica kind of, if you've seen a little bit about Costa Rica, the only downside to Costa Rica right now is the housing can be a little bit on the high side, but other than that, that's why it's probably not up a little higher than it is. The housing, you could spend a little more, but it's in a good time zone for us. It's easy to get to. Everything else is magnificent. So Costa Rica, number 4, is a really good choice for you.
Yeah.
Number 3, though, is going to be Vietnam.
Vietnam, and you've probably heard this one if you've done any research on places to go as early retirees. Vietnam is fantastic for a variety of reasons. One of those is obviously the expense. Okay, that's great. You can get great housing like we were just talking about. The food is amazing. The people are accepting. There's just so many plus sides to Vietnam.
Yeah, and in Vietnam, they just did come out with a 90-day visa. So you used to only get 30 days in Vietnam. Now, just going in, you're going to get 90 days, so you can go try it out for 3 months. Of all the countries on the list, Vietnam is the cheapest, and it's the cheapest by far. Like, it is so incredibly cheap. You would be hard-pressed to spend more than $2,500 a month in Vietnam. I don't know what you would do to even spend that much, but you would just have to be throwing money around like crazy.
Yeah, you'd have to stay at like a ridiculous property or
So
something.
Vietnam gets this ranking based on the people being super friendly. We're American, and going to Vietnam, they were super welcoming to us, and we just loved it. It was some of the nicest people we've met. The cost is extremely low. The only downside to Vietnam is it is harder and longer to get to and more expensive to get to. But if you're going to go for 90 days, it's worth it. And if you're going to pair it with some of these other countries, like Malaysia or another one coming up in a minute on the list, it's going to be worth it for you to take the time to fly there, take the expense to fly there, because it is just a phenomenal place to go. Moving on to number 2.
It has become a hotbed
It has.
for expats, for early retirees in the last few years, because they did make some changes to their visa system, and that is Portugal.
Portugal, yeah, it's a great place to be, and if you're looking for a big expat community, this is going to be one where there is one, because it's far enough away that people feel like they're not in the U.S. anymore, like kind of in Mexico or Canada. It's far enough away, but it's still close enough where it's not halfway around the world. So there's a ton of expats in Portugal trying this out right now.
Absolutely. It's a great place. The views there are amazing. Food incredible. People are super welcoming and kind. And there's quite a bit of housing there. And that's actually part of what's involved in some of these visa options that they've presented as well. We actually have several friends that live there in Portugal. So we know that it is definitely a place that should be on this list and should definitely be this high up on our list.
All right, and that leaves us with number 1, and that is where this video is being filmed from, and that is Thailand. We are in Thailand right now. Thailand is the top destination for early retirees for a ton of reasons. First of all, the expense it's incredibly cheap here. The quality of living is amongst the highest that you'll get anywhere. The housing options are phenomenal. We're in basically a luxury apartment right now. You can't see behind that curtain because it's daytime right now, but we have a jacuzzi hot tub on our balcony, and this overlooks the ocean. We'll show you a little bit about what that looks like. The types of pools we have at this place are amazing, and then right down below our condo is a night market where you can just walk down there, get food, get your dinner every night. It is basically going to range between $2 and $3 for a meal. We're getting 3-meat platter with sausage, pork, chicken, potatoes, vegetables, and bread. I think the total is $2.75 for that.
Yeah, getting kebabs, fresh made pad thai, burgers, like very nice burgers.
Yeah.
With gourmet burgers made with like bacon and fried egg and all kinds of stuff. Again, for a couple of dollars with French fries. Smoothies for 60 cents. Just incredible what you can get down at the market.
Yeah, there is also a big expat community here in Thailand if that's something you're interested in. English is widely spoken. We barely know any Thai because it is quite difficult to learn. We have been trying to learn, but it does take a while. But basically anyone we talk to speaks English, and all the signs are in English. Everything's in English. There's no concern over language here. The exchange rate is really good right now, especially for Americans. I think the only negative you can have about Thailand is just that it's so far away. It's pretty much exactly halfway around the world.
For us, yeah.
For us.
Which
So-
does make it a little bit challenging in connecting with family. I mean, we find our groove with our family members specifically in communicating and stuff, but like conducting business back in the US sometimes is a little bit challenging. If you've ever seen our lives, we have to do them in the evening for us, so it's like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night when we're doing those, so that it could be, at a decent time for you guys in the US. So conducting any kind of business or connecting with family is going to take a little bit more work, but it's not that it's impossible. It's obviously doable.
No.
I mean, we have one of our kids lives in LA, one lives in Chicago, and our parents live in Georgia and Tennessee. So all three different time zones for all of our families. So we try to stay connected at various kind of odd times for us.
Yeah, the people here are amongst the nicest in the world, and they will just make you feel welcome and at home. So for all those reasons, Thailand is number one. I don't think you could go wrong with any of these countries. They all bring something to the table, and if you're just trying to start this type of lifestyle, trying to pick, I would pick one of these, whichever one interests you most. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. They're all pretty inexpensive. We kind of laid out the pros and cons of them, but we have personally been to each of these and really enjoyed them.
Good. Well, hopefully, guys, as you're planning out your 2024 travels, you can consider this list of 10 countries that we've shared with you and in ranking orders. If you have any questions, please leave those below in the comment section. We'll see you guys next time.